that is where we cast our net. Where there is a drama, you can trust us to act it out. And where there is news, reporting is our delight. Even on the go, we are ready to track it. At Immaculate Television, we bring you the latest, hottest, and spot-on news as it makes the rounds all over the world. Reporting from the nooks and crannies of both rural and urban communities. Talk of politics, business, sports, entertainment, events, and many more. You can trust us with your airtime and view time because we are binoculate. We are Immaculate Television, ITVS.
There seems to be like a breakthrough situation for a particular professor, Professor Godwin Emezue of Abia State University. This morning, the report reaching us is that he had regained his freedom from abduction. Of course, Abia State Varsity Deputy Vice Chancellor regains freedom. That's on the front page of the newsprint this morning. A beautiful one for the family of the Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration of the Abia State University, Professor Godwin Emezue, who has regained freedom after 11 days in kidnappers' den. Such a good one for his family and himself as well. The Abia State Police Command had confirmed that he was abducted in a filling station in Umuahia, of course, the state capital, about 2 weeks ago, about 11 days ago. And just yesterday night, a report came in that he was finally released. Of course, you would remember that they had requested for about 35 million naira for this particular person. And as we speak now, he's currently in a hospital receiving treatment because, of course, he was brutally wounded. Yes, you're welcome. Good morning to you wherever you're watching. You're welcome to Immaculate Television, ITVS, and this is Newspaper Review, where we check into the stories and see how many of the stories we can use. And this morning would not be unusual. It will be as usual, where we check the dailies we have on the national scene. Daily Sun newspaper is going to go, Tribune, Daily Trust as well, Punch newspaper, The Nation, Vanguard as well as some other stories. We'll take quite a number of stories from all of this newsprint this beautiful morning, February 7th, 2024. And yes, I'll start with Daily Sun, which the reader writes that FX crisis, of course, that's exactly a talking point for many Nigerians. We have been talking about the current situation of the devaluation of the Naira, how that the Naira had fallen, it's like they say, Naira had fallen so flat, head face down, headlong, neck deep into crisis. And it seems like the CBN now blames foreign students and medical tourism. And, as at yesterday, the opposition party, Atiku, was talking about this current situation, and then he said the current administration and the past would not stop blaming each other. That is now a blame game. They are trading words over who did right, who did wrong. You messed up the economy. We took over. We inherited a poor economy. You did not put the right things in place. And the question again for other people would be, if APC is blaming APC, then who is supposed to answer? That seems like a question waiting and begging for answers this morning. Just like we know now, it's like the CBN is now blaming foreign students and medical tourism. Apex Bank's governor says 40 billion US dollars spent on school fees, medicals abroad in 10 years. I'm afraid there's no way out of this, because if the current situation of Nigeria, especially the Nigerian education system and the old economic system in Nigeria, is falling, you can't expect people to stay. You can't keep people in a failing system. People would move and look for a better option. They will look for greener pastures, and there's nothing you can do about it. Away from that now, cost of living, fresh palliatives coming in. That's coming from the federal government on top. On Daily Sun newspaper, Minister CBN FIRS pledged to address hardship. And, personally, if you ask me, this same thing has been my philosophy, that we cannot help this country by giving out money, by giving out food items. I'm not sure this is the best way to go. We have over 200 million Nigerians in this country. and we need to feed them. It's a teeming population, and it's not even growing any smaller by the day. It's even increasing, because if some people do not have job, just like they say that poverty is also akin to vices, akin to impregnating people. It's just normal. If people don't have jobs, the next thing they will do is probably to look out for one vice or vices or the other to do. That's exactly the story. So as it is now, the cost of living is at these very high rates. I'm afraid many things will still continue to happen. And palliatives in terms of rice, food materials is not the best way we can move. We've seen that in the past. We saw what happened during the coronavirus pandemic. We know how a lot of bags of rice were kept in a particular storehouse, in many storehouses and warehouses across the country. And eventually, it seems as though some of them wanted to use those palliatives for personal gain. Some politicians were actually holding it so they can use it to brand their party during elections, and that seemed like what they were looking for. And you would remember that there were a lot of money coming in from the international organizations and bodies just to help every country that is economically down because of COVID-19, and it seems like the money went down the drain. In fact, not the drain, into the pocket of some persons in this country. But yes, we have not been able to ascertain that evidentially, but yes, we will still follow through to see how every of this story unfolds. Away from that now, still taking a story before we move on from Daily Sun newspaper. Federal government APC link protest in Niger, Kano to opposition, and this is what we've been talking about. Stop blame game. Look for solutions. Labour Party tells ruling party. Yes, that's exactly the story. Of course, you know that the opposition party, Labour Party, the flag bearer of that particular, the presidential candidate of that particular party is Peter Obi, and he quite mentioned that today, just yesterday again. Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, presidential candidate of the PDP, also said the same thing, that it's just a blame game. Going back and forth to say who is to blame is not the best way to move forward. You've inherited whatever you inherited. You should have planned well for this administration. If you had plans in place, you should have checked into the imbalances across and look at ways you can bring solutions to them. That's exactly what you should have done as an administration that is looking to come into power. And it seems like you are not doing that. Obviously now it seems like you have not done your assignment enough, and you are just obsessed with the position. You just want to become the president of this country because you said Emi lo kan. And people have been saying it jokingly now that any con lo mo. It's like it's like a twist of events, not a good one, very sad one. I'm sorry for laughing, but yes, sometimes the situation of Nigeria is beyond just frowning in your face, because you can even die frowning in your face. So sometimes it's just good to put a bit of humor into that particular event. Away from Daily Sun newspaper now to Daily Trust again. Dad accused of defiling 8-month-old daughter remanded. All of this, like I said, if people don't have jobs, you can almost not expect less from them, because people can do a lot of things, and it seems like that's the trajectory of this current Nigeria situation. I hope we get out of this. Excessive taxation on telcos counterproductive, and that's coming from NCC this morning. House of Reps wants action to end hunger. Asks federal government to import grains, drugs, others. Lasting solution coming, and that's from Cardoso, the CBN governor. Tame corruption, wasteful spending. Northern elders are clamoring for that this morning. Everything is all about the cost of living in this country. So House of Reps wants action to end hunger. And I don't know how they intend to do this. Presidential Food Committee meets. Food Committee, geez, I don't feel this is the best way to go. But yes, let's leave it to the current administration to do what they know best to do. And let's expect that they will do well and help, better things in the end. Away from that now to the very down portion of the Daily Trust, as you can see on your screen, you would see that 17 feared dead in attacks on Benue communities. A sad, shocking, appalling, devastating news this morning. Again, coming from Benue State, 17 feared dead in attacks on Benue communities. Not a good one, I assure you, because we've been talking about this current situation. If we do not place premium and value on the lives of Nigerians, I'm not sure this country would move forward, because every nation that I've seen, every nation of the world that is moving ahead is trying to place premium and emphasis and value on its citizens, because not just the natural, of course, we've seen that even the natural embellishment that we have, the natural resources and all of that that God has endowed us with has not helped us, not even economically. So what we should focus on is human capital, like the human resources we have. Let's protect them. Let's ensure that they get enough education, and that's exactly to go out of this. It's just going back and forth to say we want to give food. If you give us food today, how much of food can you even protect? Can you even provide for us? If you give us food today that is sufficient for today, what about tomorrow? That's the question. What about the sustainability of these things? Is it possible we have it on a daily basis? Can we have it tomorrow? Can you guarantee that the federal government or the state government would continue to provide food for a family of 5 for 2 weeks? At what cost? How much of bags of rice would you give us? How much of bags of rice can go around over 200 million people? It seems not to be working, and I don't know why we keep talking about food committee when we can do the right things and do it well. I'm afraid, away from that story, Nigerian Tribune is reporting something different. Nigerians spent 40 billion US dollars on foreign education, medical treatment in 10 years. That's exactly one of the stories we've taken, and that's coming from the CBN governor. But you want to get more on that story, check page 4 of Nigerian Tribune this morning. Right on the top corner, Gbajabiamila, Ribadu ministers meet, say government will unlock food in storage facilities. I think I'm just going to keep quiet over this food committee and all of their plans. I'll just let it slide. Economic hardship. PDP tackles APC over claims. Opposition behind protest. Blame game again. Away from that. Spent 58.7 billion naira on travel allowances during same period. Annual import declined from 66.05 billion naira in 2014 to 54.7 billion naira in 2023. Forex from oil exports declined from 93.89 billion US dollars in 2011 to 31.4 billion naira in 2020. Rep Sako Minister, CBN over economic downturn, says Nigerians angry. Hey, Amotekun arrests 149 suspected criminals in Ondo, not good. Insecurity again. Senate meets service chiefs today. Postponed session with CBN governor to Friday, also on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune this morning. Renewed hope turning to desperation. Catholic bishops tell Tinubu. Aye, page 5 of Nigerian Tribune is where to catch that story. And right at the very brain point of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning, rising poverty endangers Nigeria's existence, and that's coming from SMBLF. This morning, Kogi faulty FCC over charges against ex-governor Bello. All of these stories you can catch on Nigerian Tribune on page 3 of the newsprint this morning. Away from that as well now to the Punch newspaper, where it's reporting the same thing about the foreign trips, education in 10 years, about a lot of money being spent by Nigerians in traveling. Who is to blame? That's exactly my question. If you say people are traveling, what would you expect in a country and a system that is not working? People can't stay for long. They can only stay for a while. Nobody can endure pain for so long. I tell you for a fact, even some of our leaders say are not even staying here. Their children are not here. So what's the point? If you're saying people are moving, your children have moved a long time ago too. So it's not just people. Even you are contributory to the problem. Now, away from that now, Fubara Rivers APC clash over 144 billion naira allocation spending. Also a story to track, and getting a bit into that story would mean that the leadership of the All Progressives Congress APC in Rivers State today challenged Governor Siminalayi Fubara to account for 144.2 billion naira federal allocation received by the state in the last 5 months, claiming that there was nothing on ground to show for it, and it seems like a development, but defending the governor now. The state commissioner, Rivers State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Joseph Johnson, also said that he accused the APC of playing politics. He's saying this is a this is a game plan. This is politics in action. It is not true that there's nothing to show for it. Chairman of the State APC Caretaker Committee, Chief Tony Okocha, During a visit to the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Martin Amaewhule, the question for Barra's management of the state's resources. All of these stories, you can catch more on that on the Punch newspaper this beautiful morning. Let's move away from that story. And still on the Punch newspaper this morning, federal government vows to end insecurity as NAF unveils attack helicopters. Also, a story to check out this beautiful morning. Customs seized 854 million naira vehicles, others in January. That's coming from NCS. Killer kidnappers free slain Kwara monarch's wife. 13 suspects nabbed. Also, a story to check. Dangote will list refinery fertilizer companies, and that's from NGX Group chairman. Of course, many more stories right on the Punch newspaper for today. And now to the Guardian newspaper, talking about inflation, price hike, push an egg a day diet beyond Nigerians' reach. Yes, if you're talking about egg, you can see the picture on your screen. The Guardian newspaper rightly displays on your screen now. You will see the price of, you see the egg, you see the chicken. It's even hard for a Nigerian to buy egg. I think I wanted to buy from my vendor yesterday, and I saw the price, and I told the person that let's think something else. Maybe let's do fish. Let's not do egg. Egg that is supposed to be something that is available, like everybody can take it without having to break the bank. It seems like it's breaking our pockets now. There's nothing you want to buy in Nigeria that is not expensive. Now, almost everything, transport fare has doubled in some places. The price of food is high. Everything is on the high side. I mean, only God knows where we are going. But yes, we'll keep our faith. We would not let our mind sleep. Away from that, now, regional groups hinge cools on hardship, failure of democracy. Also, the Guardian newspaper, bishops, northern elders lament rising inflation, hardship, and insecurity. Of course, like I said, all of that again. Naira free fall. CBN blames rising number of Nigerians schooling abroad, medical tourism. I don't know, if there's nobody else to blame, you blame people that are not even in Nigeria. We are not blaming the people that are causing the problem from this country. They are blaming people that have gone to seek a better life for themselves. I'm afraid it's a joke. I don't want to say you're a joker, but it's a joke that you're playing. Nigeria, Burkina Faso, for others to experience food crisis till May 2024. Lagos TUC others protest on ban on sachet alcohol, cite potential 500,000 job loss. I think this is a very familiar story, especially to some persons I know. Of course, over the talk about the sachet, the sachet alcohol, or they call it in Yoruba, belebe, that people used to buy. So it seems like there was a mini protest yesterday at my station where they were talking about, how can they stop it? Someone said if they stop it, then they are endangering the lives of people that some people will not live on. I mean, it's like lives depend on that sachet, or what they call it. Anyway, we'll move away from that to see how it pans out. But of course now, Lagos TUCs, they are trying to stop the protest because there's a protest also in Lagos. Others protest ban on sachet alcohol. And what they are citing is that they are citing the potential 500,000 job loss. That's like their own premise, their major premise for, protesting. If you do this, then we have problems providing jobs for 500,000 persons who are going to lose their jobs directly from that sale of sachet, like they call it here. You want to catch more on that story for those interested, lovers of that particular product, check news page 4 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And away from that as well, NNPCL spends 267.98 billion naira on security as oil, petrol, and operators struggle. Also on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning, MOUAU shuts down others' immediate vacation of students from campus. Also a story that will catch your fancy. Away from that now to the Nation newspaper this morning, federal government, our economic policies yielding fruits. It seems like a joke sometimes when you see these kind of captions. How can the federal government come out to say that our economic policies are yielding fruit? What kind of fruits? Cucumber? I don't know. Anyway, Edun, we are improving living standard. Bagudu explains revenue targets, how we are bringing down inflation by Cardoso. Am I not in this Nigeria? Be this another Nigeria story? maybe there's another Nigeria that I don't know of. More palliative for vulnerable Nigerians. If you are saying this, Nigerians are crying for something else. You people are saying something else. What do you take us for? That's the question from me this morning to the federal government. How can you say our economic policies are yielding fruit? What kind of fruit is this one? Is this the almond fruit that we see? Even the almond fruit now is very expensive. Trees are not producing again for us because everything is on the high side. They don't find water easily because there's Hamatan all of a sudden in February, and it's massive. Anyway. APC opposition throw brick bats over Mina. Kano protest, also a story to check on the Nation newspaper. And you want to catch more, continue on the page 4 of the Nation newspaper. And coming down, you will see the Tantita ship rides on your screen. And it's, of course, about the particular story yesterday, how that the Tantita, a particular security establishment, a private security establishment, also continued to do their work well. They seized a particular, they actually stopped some people trying to, take crude oil products illegally. So they actually apprehended them, and it was a good one. There were thumbs up everywhere yesterday for them for doing a very good job on that part. Alaki is Africa's mining minister's chair. Amotekun arrest 149 in Ondo, and also page 5 of the Nation newspaper. And lastly, before we go, let's take Vanguard newspaper this morning. Right on Vanguard newspaper, the front page: protests over high prices, no food shortage in Nigeria. That's coming from the federal government. But let's start from the top corner of this. Stabilizing Naira task for all Nigerians. That's coming from Cardoso. And very importantly, on the sports scene, you'll see it's going to be a very tough game against Nigeria. And that's coming from Tovi. We expect that, yes, Nigeria will come out victorious. So Osimhen now fit to play. Yes, of course, it was discussed yesterday. Osimhen was not part of the traveling team that went to Bouquet recently. They said he was absent for some reasons, particularly stomach. We read in the news also yesterday he had a stomach upset, or whatever they called it. But yes, we have seen in another report this morning that Osimhen is fit to play. Seems like a good one for us. Let's do it again. That's the language. Ewa is already smiling, of course. And Mr. Josiah. Away from that now, let's take some other stories. But yes, I would also like to say that right on the Punch newspaper, talking about the sporting world, you will see today that there was a news about Lagos State, pace setting and leading at every front. Yes, just today they reported that Lagos State has approved about, I could not even count. I was trying to picture and count how many of those viewing centers are going to be showing Nigeria versus South Africa's game today, and it's so many. Mobolaji Stadium in Lagos as well. Some other stadiums are also going to be showing that match live in Nigeria. Yes, it's a good support for the football community in Nigeria. We need other states to also do the same. Yes, Nigeria is playing South Africa today by 6 o'clock. I'm so sure you want to see that game. Every Nigerian should do this day. And thank you so very much once and again for joining us on Immaculate Television Newspaper Review. I am Anuluwapo Idowu, and on behalf of the entire production crew, we say thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We have subsequent programs and newscasts coming your way, but just in a moment. Stay with us. Don't go nowhere.
Wherever, whenever there is a story, that is where you find us. Where the gist is developing, that is where we cast our net. Where there is a drama, you can trust us to act it out. And where there is news, reporting is our delight. Even on the go, we are ready to track it. At Immaculate Television, we bring you the latest, hottest, and spot-on news as it makes the rounds all over the world. Reporting from the nooks and crannies of both rural and urban communities. Talk of politics, business, sports, entertainment, events, and many more. You can trust us with your airtime and view time, because we are binoculate. We are Immaculate Television. ITVS.